And then we will unpack all of those because I want you guys coming away with this from this um, feeling empowered, feeling like you have control of your business, feeling like you have control of your mindset, or at least a jumping off point to be able to move forward and continually have a good mindset. I know we've been talking a lot about belief, but it's the root of everything. Literally everything stems from your belief. And I think it's a thing that's easier said than done. People are like, okay, I know I have a belief issue, but like, how do I get out of it? Because I think it's easy to recognize you have a belief issue, but it's not as easy to take the necessary steps that you change your belief and you change your mindset. And everyone's like, oh, you just have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And you're like, okay, that's all well and good, but like, how do I do that? Because I'm always, battling these mindset things that pop up. I'm not good enough. I should have accomplished more. I fail at so many other things. I'm not smart enough. A fear of judgment. I always self-sabotage myself. These are just a few of them that you guys have provided. And I want to give you the tools necessary so that you guys can know, like, there's nothing that you can do that makes you worthy. Like, you just literally existing on this planet makes you worthy enough for anything that you want. And I'm going to help you get the right tools so that you can see and make those things happen. Because I think, like, for me, belief has always been an issue for me. I would see like a certain amount of success and then I'd feel like I'd backslide, or I'd let the things that people had said to me over the past really come up and haunt me and like keep me from accomplishing more. And then also the things that I tell myself that are just blatantly not true, but for whatever reason we come up with these crazy stories in our own head as like, why are they doing better than me? Like, why are they moving faster than me? Like, what am I doing wrong? Why do I suck? Why aren't I getting as much engagement? Like, you ask yourself all these questions and you find yourself feeling like you're quote unquote stuck. You're never really stuck. It's all in your mind. It's a mindset thing. So I'm going to help unpack all of these. The first thing that I want to say, because I found it so profound, so I'm doing this challenge group and I'm learning a lot of stuff in it. And I've already noticed a shift in my business, and I want to be able to pass it on to you guys because I want you guys to experience that too. So fear. What is the definition of fear? We're all afraid of something, right? We're afraid to reach out to somebody. We're afraid to do that post. Maybe we're afraid to go live. We're afraid to share about the business opportunity. We're afraid to follow up with that person again. But fear is you just assigning a negative outcome to something that hasn't even happened yet. When this guy said that, I was like, holy shit. So the thing that you're like making all these stories up about hasn't even happened. You're just imagining the worst case scenario. And it's like we're like, why am I doing this? And then you just stay stuck because you're afraid. Once you realize that worst case scenario story that you're telling yourself is no longer serving you, you can start to shift into really believing in yourself and understanding that the things that you're telling yourself are just not true at all whatsoever. So I'm going to go unpack each of these one by one. I know Claire and I had a conversation one off the other day, and Rainey and I also had a conversation one off the other day. And I just want you to feel like whatever thing that you may have put down, like I can help you guys overcome that. So the first thing is I fail at so many other things. Why would this be any different? And I can tell you, I gotta admit her in. Hi, Jennifer. Sorry, I don't ever see that thing that says like you have to accept somebody. I hate this, but I know that there's reasons as to why they have that because bad things have happened. But so I fail at so many other things. I know I've personally dealt with this. So I was a hairstylist for a while. I felt like I wasn't excelling in that. So then I moved into the banking industry. and then I moved up to things, and then I got laid off from my job there, and then I switched into a new career, and I got let go from that job, and I was like, okay, I just cannot find anything that I'm good at. Like, I just fail at everything, which is that actually true, though? Do I fail at everything? No, that's not true. I don't fail at being a parent. I might have my moments, but I do not fail as a parent. You don't fail at taking care of yourself. There are so many things that you aren't a failure at, and by labeling something that you maybe even haven't given your whole heart to yet as a failure before it even starts, is that serving you right now by you thinking that? No, it's not. And I just kind of want to go back to the conversation that Claire and I had because it was so good. If you guys want to put anything in the comments, I'm sorry, it's like an awkward pause. Okay. The next one is the same thing. I never accomplished my goals is another one. Have you ever set out, like, you've never accomplished any goal in your life whatsoever? That's not true either. You're just telling yourself what's called a negative story. And once you start identifying those stories that are coming up, you can start overcoming them too. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough time to accomplish everything. I think this is a huge one for everybody because we're parents, we're trying to be teachers, we are working full time. You're like, I can't be a good mom and do this business at the same time. I don't have enough time. When we need to start shifting our mindset, instead of thinking I don't have enough time, it's because you're limiting yourself by choosing I have to be good at this thing and that thing. You should start by asking yourself, how can I do both? Because it is possible to do both. And when you start being even more successful with your business, that frees up the time so that you can spend more time with your family. Are there sacrifices you sometimes need to make? Absolutely. But the question you should start off with every single day is, how can I be both? How can I be both a good mom and good at my business? How can I be both somebody that's employed and be in business for myself? How can I do those things? Instead of saying to yourself, I don't have the time, ask yourself, how can I do this in both areas? And then start brainstorming and coming up with ideas as to how you can do that. Fear of judgment. So I know Claire and I had this conversation because she was like, every time I go live, and I hope you don't mind me calling you out. I was told today that since I have been doing Thrive, my mindset has changed. And see? Crazy. I'll tell you, kind of like, I don't know. When you're surrounded by the right people and you start taking care of yourself and you start really understanding how much you've been programmed throughout your life, it is like it unlocks so much for you, and other people take notice of that. So fear of judgment. I hope you don't mind, Clara, that I'm like calling you out. But she said, because
no, go right ahead.
I know that there's other people that have felt this way too. She said, like, every time I'm like, I'm going to go live, and then I try to go live, and I think to myself, like, oh my gosh, are they going to make fun of me? What are they going to say about me? They're going to judge me. Like, they're going to say stuff about me. Like, you start coming up with all these crazy stories, and you start assigning outcomes to things that haven't even happened yet. Do you know if somebody's going to make fun of you? No, you don't definitively know that somebody is going to make fun of you or know you screwed up saying something or anything like that. And she had pointed out, she's like, well, you're just so comfortable doing it. And I was like, let me back the train up a little bit and give you a video that I did 2 years ago that happened to pop up in my memories. And I watch it, and I will admit that I cringe, and I'm like, who is that? And she was like, her response was the best. She's like, holy crap, that's crazy. I can't believe that's you. And like, this goes along with the whole thing of like, I'm going to fail at this. Guess what? there are things that you might make mistakes on. That sometimes you might even completely think that you fail at. Like maybe you say the wrong thing to a prospect. Maybe you do hop on a live and you're just like, bleh, and you like feel like it just went nowhere. And you maybe had like 10 people hop on. Or you might not do so good at writing a post. Like my posts were not good before. But I was telling her that you have to go through that stuff. Like none of us are immune to having to fail through stuff to grow. That is literally the only way that you're going to experience growth is by making mistakes and failing a little bit. I mumble all the time. Dude, I mumbled all the time. I sounded like a 12-year-old girl when I used to talk. I'm like, why is my voice sounding like that? But that's how
I repeat myself all the time too. I feel like I'm just saying the same shit over and over again. It's so ridiculous sometimes.
And that's okay because you might think that you're repeating stuff, but I can tell you that nobody really notices. And I do the same thing. I'll like go way off track and I'm like, I don't really care. As long as my message is getting delivered, somebody might need to hear it. I need to say it. And if I follow through it and kind of mess up, that's okay. The next time I can come better and be back and be a little more confident. But you're never going to gain that confidence unless you actually do the action. Because confidence isn't a trait that's just, you're born with confidence. Like Megan was born and God bestowed confidence on her. Like, no, it's gained through experience. It's gained through skills. It's gained through learning things about yourself. It's gained through failures, making adjustments and coming back. I think I need to use notes for a while too. So that's what I did. I told her, like, this is what I did when I first started. I was like, I'm like, so Steph is telling me I have to go live. I've never gone live before. Like the first time was a hot flipping mess. I cried on it. I had gotten to like a rainstorm, like right before I had to get onto it. So I looked like a freaking lion. Like my hair was a mess. But I got so many people were like, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Like, I want to try that and da 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 da. But she's like telling me you have to go live all the time. And I'm like, what the F do I talk about? I don't know what to talk about. So I was like, all right, so I'm just going to take the capsules, go through the vitamins, pick a vitamin, Google stuff about it, and then just educate my audience on vitamin A and educate my audience on vitamin D and why you need it. And those were my first videos for probably the first month that I was doing live videos, were just me. And then I evolved into talking about like why protein is so important for your body and why digestive health is so important. And I would get feedback. Like I would go to work and some of the agents that I worked with at that time would like come into my office and they'd be like, I love watching your lives. Like I've learned so much. And I was like, oh God, I just felt like I sound like an idiot because I'm like reading off of a paper half the time, but people actually appreciated it. But I would have never got better at doing lives unless I just did them. Like we think that all of a sudden it's going to be like this lightning bolt comes down and strikes you and now you're all of a sudden comfortable with doing live video. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, like I wish it was that easy. It's done through you failing. And I don't know why we assign this like big scary thing to failure. Like it's like a red scarlet letter that you have to wear because you failed at something. No, it's just an attempt and it's an opportunity for you to get better and try again. I don't have enough time to accomplish everything. I think we already covered that. I'm worried about what others will think of me. So that's a big one. And that's another thing where it's just fear and you're assigning an outcome to something that hasn't happened yet. Like, is it true? Ultimately true. Do you know for a fact that there's somebody sitting on the other side of the phone that is gonna start judging you? Or what are they gonna think of me? You don't know that definitively. So like, why are you allowing that to stop you? You don't know that for sure. You don't know that that is actually going to happen. And let me tell you, if there is a keyboard warrior sitting on the other side of your of your phone and they are going to do that, like they're obviously unhappy with their life because they have nothing better to do, and you shouldn't take their opinion lightly anyway, or you should take their opinion very lightly anyways. Because I always say hurt people hurt other people. No one is going to criticize you for doing less than them. I think that's the saying. Shoot. I don't remember. I have to Google it because I want to have the right one. Hopefully there's a quote that you will never be criticized by someone who is doing more than you. You will only be criticized by someone who is doing less. So the people that are the keyboard warriors are the ones that are like, oh my God, you're doing that thing. It's because you're trying to elevate your life and do more with your life. And there's something about them and their life that they don't like. And you're causing that to come out of them by you pursuing something that makes you happy and makes you step out of your comfort zone and makes you do something different. You will never be criticized by somebody who's doing more than you. So like, I know for a fact if I went on and did a live, like Lisa or Chastity would never come and be like, oh my God, that was the worst live ever. Like, what were you thinking? No, they would never do that. They might give you constructive criticism, but it comes from a place of love. Anybody that's attacking you, saying things that are mean, it's because they're in a level where they're not comfortable with themselves. So they're projecting that onto you. And you do not need to take that seriously at all. Like, move along, sister. I'm not smart enough. That is not true. For one, like you wouldn't be here if you weren't smart enough. But second of all, like we are in the world of information. Like you can literally look up anything and expand your knowledge. Like if you feel like you don't have enough knowledge, you can expand upon that. So you feel like you're more knowledgeable. It's not that you're not smart enough. You're not giving yourself enough credit is what it is. Like you are truly smart enough. Otherwise, like you wouldn't come up with the posts that you do. You wouldn't, there's like, you are definitely smart enough. We're in the age of knowledge. You can make yourself more knowledgeable. I always self-sabotage. This is such a good one because I relate to this one. And Randy actually came to me with this one. I'm calling you out too. Sorry. And she was like, I don't know if any other people feel this way. And I'm like, girl, I'm the queen. I was the queen of self-sabotage. Like I would be on riding a high. Like I would do so good. And then I'd be like, ooh, what if I can't be a good enough leader for everybody? Or what if I blow all my money? Like I start telling myself all these stories. And then I'm like, I'm just not going to try as hard. Like, because you're afraid. You're afraid of stuff that hasn't even happened yet, that you don't even know how you're going to do anything with, how you're going to do with that yet, because that situation hasn't come. Assigning an outcome to something that has not occurred yet. The exact same thing. And the only reason you self-sabotage is because it's a lack of belief. So we have these lacks of belief, right? And you're like, okay, we're kind of unpacking them. I understand that these things aren't 100% truth set in stone. They're just stories that I'm telling myself based on past experiences that I've gone through. So we can either look to the past and keep repeating the same cycles, or we can look to the future and find new truths for ourselves. So what do you do when you're reaching these situations? When you're finding yourself, like before you go live, saying like, oh my God, everyone's going to make fun of me. The first step is you have to acknowledge that you're having that sort of a thought. This is a negative thought. It's not serving me. And the second thing you have to do is you have to replace it with a new truth that you would like to happen, or like that is bringing you closer to the vision you see for yourself in the future. So like if you want to be somebody that is really good at doing live videos, you're coming up to do your live video and you're like, oh, I'm just going to suck at this and I'm going to mumble through everything. First thing you say to yourself, no, that's not necessarily true because I don't know that, because it hasn't happened yet. What can you tell yourself that is going to bring you closer to that vision that you want of yourself. I am going to do amazing at this. And if I happen to mess up, that's okay. People aren't going to know. New story. I will never be successful because I fail at everything. I'm not going to be successful at this business because I always fail. Negative story. Is this serving me right now? No, it's not. What is the new story that I can come up with for myself that is going to be different? I have all the tools to help me be successful with this business. And if I try hard enough for a long enough period of time, it's going to happen. I can give you guys an example of the ones that I unpacked. This is like such a good, and Jennifer's doing it with me too. So I know she can attest to this. So my 3 limiting beliefs, because they had you like write down 3 limiting beliefs. I'll get you guys a copy of this too, so you have it for yourself. And I'll tell you where you can go catch all this information. Limiting belief number 1 I had was I'm not a good leader. The limiting belief number 2 that I had is I'm not responsible with money. Therefore, I don't deserve it because I'm just going to blow it because I've always blown my money. My limiting belief number 3 is that I procrastinate and I'm lazy. So what he had you do in this exercise was he had you write down, like, if you continued with these exact same thoughts that you're telling yourself over and over again, where would it get you in 2 to 3 years? I put, like, I would still be stuck with what I'm comfortable with leading. I'll be exactly where I'm at right now, not progressing forward, not responsible with money. I would still be broke and dependent on other people, with a bad credit score and relying on my family to take care of me. If I'm still like that person that procrastinates and is lazy, I'm still procrastinating, feeling like my life is a mess and not taking control of it. So, like, really think about, like, those things that you're telling yourself. So, like, I don't have enough time to accomplish everything. Where will you be in 2 to 3 years if you're still telling yourself that same story? I fail at so many other things, so why would this be any different? Where will you be in 2 to 3 years if you're still saying that exact same thing to yourself? I should have accomplished more at this point in my life. Where will you be if you continually tell yourself that in 2 to 3 years? You're going to still be repeating the same cycles that have gotten you to the place that you are now, right? So, acknowledging that they're happening, maybe even painting a picture of what your life might look like if you continue on those negative mindset, those negative beliefs that you keep telling yourself over and over again. So, acknowledging is the first step. Second step, or writing down where, like, your picture of your life. I think sometimes you got to paint that picture because it makes you wake up and realize, like, whoa, the things that I've been doing for so long and these thought processes that I've been utilizing for my whole life, they aren't serving me. They're not getting me to a better place. They've kept me, maybe like I have through the muster of my own strength and actions gotten a little bit better, but either I keep going back to the same situation or I'm not even moving forward. So the next one would be, who would you be if you did not have these limiting beliefs? Who's the person that you would potentially be, like, if you removed all those limiting beliefs that you're telling yourself? So if you removed the thought of I'm not smart enough, who could you be? You could be somebody that's confident, that's knowledgeable. If you remove that thought that I always self-sabotage, like, that is completely gone. You're somebody that gets things done. You're somebody that takes action. Fear of judgment. Who would you be if you didn't have a fear of judgment? You would be confident. You would be bold. You would, whatever that looks like. Paint a picture of what your life could look like if you didn't have those limiting beliefs. And then it's time for you to create a new story. I'm going to pull up my new stories. I think I have them. Yes. So my new story that I created for myself going through this, because, like, let me tell you, like, a lot of tears were shed. I've been telling myself this whole It's so good. Like, seriously, I don't know if you had an opportunity to watch today's Jennifer, but holy balls. Like, it's so good. So the news story that I wrote for myself, because I can tell you that I got through a lot of tears. Like this whole me thinking I'm not a good leader and I suck at managing money. I was like, it has not served me my whole life. It has kept me broke. It has kept me from not stepping into the leader that I am. And it has made me shrink back and not be like, you know what? I can attract more people on my team because I do know what I'm doing and I am a good leader. So the news story that I wrote for myself, I know I can be successful because I have shown over and over again my ability to promote, lead, and grow in every position that I have faced. I am resourceful. I am smart. Have all the tools and knowledge to make it happen. I take initiative. I have the ability to be laser focused and make things happen. I raised my son on $5.88 an hour and climbed to a position making $55,000 a year. I really can do anything. So I took an example of where all those things were not true. I was making $5.80 an hour as a single mom with my son and somehow figured it out. And I grew myself into a position where I was making $55,000 a year. If I can make that shit happen, like I can make anything happen. And you guys need to have that same confidence in yourself. If you overcame any sort of hurdle in your life, you are more than capable of overcoming whatever story that you're telling yourself right now. If you're telling yourself that I don't have enough time or that I've always failed at everything, that is not true. That does not have to be the truth that you live in anymore. It does not. Like, put the stake in the ground that you will make a change today, that this is not the story I am going to tell myself any longer. I am not carrying this weight. I am not carrying this baggage. It has not served me up until this point. Therefore, I need to let it go today. And once I feel like it's creeping up again, I need to make sure that I replace it with something that's the new story that I'm living with my life. Oh man, I got like, whew, it was huge when I came to that realization. And if some of you feel like you're not growing at the speed that you want to, or because I feel like that happens to a lot of us, myself included. Like one of my really good friends who came into this business far after me, like I helped her go VIP 800. We're really good friends. We went on a retreat together. She just hit 80K today. My story could have been, why is she so much farther than me? And she started after me. That's the person I used to be. That is not the person I am. Now I am like, if she can do it, why can't I? If she can do it, why can't I? And I heard this quote, and I want you guys to like take this with you if you feel like you're not where you want to be yet. And I might cry reading it because it hit me in the heart really hard when I heard it. Maybe, and Jennifer, you probably heard this too, maybe God is giving you something so big, you just don't see it because you're not truly accepting the gift that he has given you. I was like, okay. You guys, you all, every single person that is on this, have the capability to do amazing things. The only thing that is getting in your way right now is the old story that you've been telling yourself. That is the only thing. You each have your own unique gifts. You each have something that is important that needs to be brought to this world. You all have a story that needs to be heard by somebody. And your worth does not come by all the actions you do, what you post on social media. Like, it's not like you reach this certain point and then you'll be worthy of this stuff. No, you are worthy right now of receiving all this stuff right now because you exist on this planet right now. And you need to start stepping into that because there's so much potential that I see in you guys. And I hope you can see that. Like, I hope you can see that, and I hope I can help you get there. So that was kind of my day. Is there anything, is there any fears that you guys would like to just unpack while we're here? Type them up. If there's anything you thought of, like after this, you were like, oh, I didn't think of this fear that I had. Maybe it's through something that you were doing, like you're too busy. Success isn't the result of more action on action on action on action. It is literally the belief in yourself, because you can do all the actions in the world, but if the belief is missing, people can sense that for sure. So to give you an example of how me changing my mindset, just even in this short period of time, really realizing the stories that I've been telling myself and how I've been able, like what it's done for me in just this super short period of time, I felt like they say law of attraction, right? And like you don't really know if you believe it, because and like try it, but you're like half-ass trying it. You're like trying to make affirmations and like make things happen. But like when you actually step into the belief, like I am this, and you start projecting that in the things that you do, in what you're saying, the service you're providing your audience, because we don't sell to people, we solve problems. The service that you're providing people, it's crazy how quickly things will start to shift in your business. So in just like the 5 days that I've been really working on this and really trying to acknowledge the things that I'm saying to myself, catching them as they're happening, and then changing what they are, I've done 1,000 in personal volume in 5 days. I felt like I was so stuck, you guys, for a little bit. It's because I was getting caught in my own mindset. Like, I just don't know if I can do this. Like, it doesn't look like I'm going to project for 40K yet again this month. Like, oh my God, I don't even know if I'm going to hit 25K and re-rank like from last month. And I was allowing all those things to get in my way, and it was dragging me down. And then finally I put the stake in the ground and I said, this mindset isn't serving me, because I'm not going anywhere. So I need to make a change. And the second that I started to acknowledge that I was doing those things and changing them, the way that I talked to my prospects was different. The way that I served my customers was different. I started reaching out so much more, because I felt like I'm not trying to sell somebody or just get a number so that I'm promoting, or that I feel like I need to like check the box of me feeling validated as a leader or as somebody that's important. No, I'm already valuable right now. How can I go out and serve other people? I started reaching out to people and just saying like, hey, how are you? Like, I want to help you because I know this will help you. The way I was using words was different, and it attracted 1,000 in volume into my business in 5 days, you guys. Start believing that this stuff can happen for you, because it can. The second that you start catching yourself doubting is the second that you'll start slipping back. You got to acknowledge it's happening and change that story that you're telling yourself. So I'm going to get all that stuff out. I'll probably see if I can post the PDF in our team page, and then I'll drop the link in our team chat too for all the replays of the videos, because they're so flipping good. And the last one he's doing is on Friday. So it's the Virtual Upline podcast. I know I've shared a couple of his before, but it's just, he has a whole different way of teaching people. And I don't believe like this is the world of information. Like you can get information for free. Like, I don't know if you necessarily have to pay for things, especially if you're not in the place to. Like, do not put yourself out. This is a free thing that you can do and go through. And his podcasts have helped me so much too. So I'm going to drop all that information for you guys. Is there anything else? Was this helpful? I didn't think it was hot in here, but it is apparently. I did record this, so I will put it back up on my YouTube channel, and then I'll drop it in the team chat too. Anything anyone wants to add? Jennifer, do you want to add anything that you've had as like a takeaway from going through this?
Honestly, you hit a lot of it, like nail on the head, or whatever that saying is, but it's just amazing the things that he says, because it's like lining up with things that even my pastor is saying at church. Because it's not about the business, it's about you as a person and how you are as a person and your beliefs as a person, and then it all just kind of falls into place. And so like today I got to watch the rest of the second one. I haven't got to see the third one yet.
Yeah, he
And
just
I was like, dude, Pastor Beecham was just talking about these things.
Isn't that crazy?
So it's just crazy how it's like lining up for me. And it's so crazy too, because once you start making those negative stories, it's hard to get away from those negative stories, especially because right now I have someone in my life that will never leave my life. And they just make little snide comments here and there. And it just brings me all the way back to like square one. And I let it do that to me again today. And I just told myself, I was like, no, I'm tired of this person like taking my joy. They're literally stealing the story right out of my mouth when they say negative things, because it makes me believe that, even though I know those aren't true stories. So it's insane, the things that I'm hearing with this podcast. And this guy's really cool too. He actually reminds me a little bit of Dave Hollis.
Okay. Yep.
Like how he kind of like preaches. Because I feel like he's just like, this is how it is. You can keep saying that you're doing all the things, but really when it comes down to it, you're still believing the negative story. You haven't changed your story yet. You have to change your story for it to change for you.
Oh,
And I was
yes.
like, I got an epiphany. I was like, epiphany when I heard that.
And he comes from a place of service, which it's no secret to you guys that I'm a woman of faith, and obviously service is like the number one thing for that. And so he talks about like, you are not selling to people. You are solving your problems and sharing your gifts.
Yes, the gifts.
And we all have them. Like we're all good at something else. Like somebody, maybe you're the person that can like connect with people really well. Maybe you are really good at speaking. Maybe it's that you're just that loving light that people need in their life. And like, by you not hopping on and sharing it, like people are missing out on that. And like somebody might need that.
Yes, that's true. And you know, it's funny too, because the past few days I've been like busier in the mornings than I normally am. And I haven't been doing that as much as I was. Like normally I get on there and I tell people that God loves them. And so do I, just because I think a lot of people forget that. And it's funny too, because I brought a few people like to faith, even just praying on that, just changing the way that I am and the way that I am just showing up for myself and for others. It's insane.
Right. And I think, well, and like for me with that whole money mindset thing, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, because you get so many mixed messages as you're growing up about money. Like wealthy people are greedy. And then like you get those pastors that are like, you can't be greedy with money or whatever. And then you think like, oh God doesn't want me to be rich because that's, I'm going to be greedy.
Yeah.
What did he say? He said, money is the result of the impact that you're giving out to the world.
Yeah. And he said, if you're a good person, then the money's still going to keep you a good person and you're going to do good things with it. But if you're a shitty person, you're just going to do shitty things with it.
Right. And not a single one of you that is sitting on this is a shitty person at all. Otherwise you would not be on my team. But he also said that, and the more you have, it just gives you the ability to impact more people. And for me, that was like, holy shit, because I was always thinking, coming from the mindset of thinking, like, if I have more money, I've always blown my money up to this point. But here's the thing, I'm a giver too. And I give my money sometimes to buy stuff or like gifts or whatever. And I just thought, if I have more, it gives me the ability to give more and impact more, because I'll have the time freedom to be able to, see more people or do more things or whatever. Like it just opens up so much more, and it completely changed my mindset. But another thing that we'll probably talk about, because I don't want to keep you guys long, is a reason that you feel like you're not seeing success in your business is because you're treating it like a hobby and it's not a business. Like, you say those little like things like, oh, it's just my side hustle, or it's my little side business. Like, if you're calling it a little side business, it's going to treat you, or it's going to pay you like a little side business. But if you're like, no, I'm a businesswoman, I am in the business world, this is what I'm doing, and you start treating it like a business and acting like a business, it's going to pay you like one. But if you feel like, I don't know, that whole thing, we'll just have to go through at a different time, because I feel like I could go down a rabbit hole on that one. But yeah, if you guys have anything else, go ahead and drop it real quick. Otherwise, I can wrap this up, because we're running on about 45 minutes. I like to keep it about there. Thanks, Jennifer, for sharing. And thanks, Claire and Randy, for letting me call you guys out. Oh, I have to get a picture. I think these cute little pumpkins that I bought at the Dollar Tree for $1. So like, if you want like good pictures for your products, these are at the Dollar Tree for $1. They're like sparkly little pumpkins, and they come in a bunch of different colors. And then I got this really cute candle too. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to be in the festive spirit, and I didn't have a whole lot of money to spend. So I was like, because my son's going through driver's ed pretty soon, and it's just like, oh my God. And I have 2 kids with birthdays. Okay. And then I'll just take a regular picture too, to post in so we can have stories. Okay. All right, guys. Love you. Oh, really? I'm scared shitless. Seriously. I must stop recording.